Okay.
All right, so let's make a start. So hi, Nakinda, how are you doing?
Hi, Sylvia. I am doing good, thank you. The sun is out. Good spirits. So yeah, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I mean, we know what our current situation is, trying to sort of um, adjust and just kind of take it easy, really. Keep down on the old consumption of news, but I think
Mhm.
that's one of your bits of advice, and of course the reason we're speaking today is because you have some pretty useful advice for us as we go through this really, really trying time. So tell us a little bit about your coaching practice and what it is you're aiming to do. And then perhaps, Nakinda, you can go on to tell us, how on earth we should position ourselves during this time.
So I am a transformational and confidence coach, and I help aspiring women to build their self-confidence so they can find their own route to empowerment. So that is my coaching practice. I also work in international relations as well. And so these are the two hats that I wear at the moment. And if you have not heard about Corona at all, that's what's going on in the world around us at the moment.
You might be living under a rock if you haven't heard about it. Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. So we've heard about it, and yes, it is something that we have to be aware of so that we can take precautions to protect ourselves. But a lot of the times, or a lot of people that I've spoken to, we have found ourselves stuck in a cycle of anxiety
Yes.
because of the corona. And it's not to diminish that it is something that is happening. It is something that we need to be aware of. But if you should let it consume you and induce such anxiety, then you are not even able to take the precautions that you need to take to look after yourself and your family. So it was just to have a little chat, just to see if there's any practical ways that we could reduce our anxiety and still be mindful, still be practical when it comes to protecting ourselves, but also protecting our mental health. I am not a doctor, I am not a mental expert, but we do know that if you are caught in a cycle of anxiety, it cannot be good for your mental health. So it's just to be mindful and to help people find the steps that they can take to look after themselves in this season that we're in.
Okay, and I mean, you made the point about excessive anxiety not being good for one's mental health, but I guess I would also add not good for one's physical health either, because when I think about anxiety, I think about stomach being in knots, heart racing. Sometimes one can suffer from a little tremor. So there are all kinds of physical issues that go along with that. So run us through your tips for helping us to stay calm and reasoned as we move through this difficult and challenging time.
Well, one of the first things, and that's something that I have come across in readings that I've been doing, is that anxiety comes a lot of the times when we focus on what if.
Okay.
And what if is not happening right now. It is happening sometime in the future, sometime in the distant future, tomorrow, next week, next year. What if my business fails? What if I get sick? What if I lose my job? All valid things to prepare for.
Yes.
But if you consume yourself with it, you are not living right in this moment, and these things are not happening right now. So one of the first things is to try to shift your mind from the what if, worst case scenarios, and try to focus on where you are on today. So for example, what if Sylvia, this thing carries on and it gets worse? If we try to move away from that and put our focus on today, we can look out the window, it's bright, it's sunny. The government has said that you're allowed to go for a walk, open your window, go to your back garden. What can you do today instead of thinking of what if, worst case scenario? And again, I just want to emphasize that we're not diminishing the seriousness of Corona or COVID-19.
Right.
It's just finding ways to cope with it without breaking yourself,
On a
making yourself
day-to-day
even more
basis.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say is to move away from the what if worst case scenario and try to bring your focus onto today, onto now.
Right.
And one of the ways that we could do that is, instead of, again, focusing on a future threat or future problem that could or may not happen, focus on the next 24 hours.
Okay.
That's a coping mechanism. So what can you do today? Is there emails that you could probably work on? Is there a call you could make? Is there some work that you need to do? A lot of us are working from home. So can we shift our focus into something for today? So that breaks it down into manageable chunks of 24 hours. And it sort of gives you a little more control over your day, rather than focusing on something that you have no control over. What if in the future?
Yeah, I just want to add a comment to that, though. I also think that taking that approach also seems to make time go very quickly. And I have noticed that in the days that I've been working from home, I don't know where the time's going. But I think because, I'm trying very, very hard not to sort of dwell on the what ifs. And if you are actually living hour to hour, 24 hours at a time, the time does go quickly.
It does.
It does go quickly, which is a good thing. A good thing.
It does.
Okay.
I've found that as well, Sylvia.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm glad you mentioned.
Yes. So what's your next tip?
So another thing that we could also do is to focus on the things that are in our control. So, for example, the length that the lockdown will last, you can't control it. I can't control it. What can we control? You can control your activities during the day. You can control following health and hygiene advice. So while you may not be able to control how long it lasts, you can control what you do while we are in the lockdown. So you can exercise your good hygiene practices. The authorities have given us travel advice. You could choose to follow that. Of course, if you don't, there's penalties that they will met out to you.
Yes.
But for your own health, you choose to follow those advice. You could stay at home. There's this hashtag that's being circulated: stay at home, save lives. You could choose to do that. That is in your control. You could choose to boost your immune system. That is something that is very important. So instead of focusing on the things that you cannot do, you could choose to eat healthier. You could choose to take vitamins. You could choose to exercise. So these are things you can control and you can do today.
Yes.
To sort of help you shift from the impending doom and gloom, as some people are preaching. And you can actually do something to help protect your body, boost your immune system, and keep yourself and your family safe. So yes, focusing on things that are within your control, even in the confines of the lockdown.
Yes.
That's really important, I think.
Okay, thank you. All right, number 3.
So we have just gone through number 3. So
have we?
The next we have.
Are you sure you're not cheating me there?
I believe.
I want more for my buck, mate. Carry on. Sorry. I've obviously gone off somewhere. Perhaps I'm going off to a paradise island or something. I could have sworn it was only 2 we did.
Take me with you. That'd be nice. As long as you've got a cocktail or champagne or something. Something sparkly.
Oh yes. So what's the
another
next
thing that we could do is to find out the source of the anxiety, the source that is feeding that feeling of doom and gloom and negativity, and cut it out if you can.
Yep.
Yes, we have to be aware. Yes, we need to know the numbers that are infected in the country and in the area. Yes, we need to know what the authorities are doing and what the advice is. What we do not need is a 24-hour binge. So if you watch the news every top of the hour? Do you really need to watch the every 5 minute updates or the half hourly in-depth statistical
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dishing out?
Mm-hmm.
If that is feeding your anxiety, it's probably best to limit it. Yes, be informed. Of course, yes, be informed, because that helps us to, understand what is going on and take the precautions that we need. But a 24-hour binge in something that is so heavy cannot really be good to consume continuously, day in, day out. And especially now we are all home, it's easy to sit in front of
Oh
the
my
TV,
gosh, yes, yes, yes. I'm
draw
thinking,
the curtains.
if my father was here, it would be 24 hours. I mean, he's obsessed with the news. But I was thinking about this as well today. It's been a little while that I've actually stopped listening to the news, even prior to this happening, because I did find that a constant stream of what usually is bad news wasn't good for my well-being. So I would imagine with what's happening now, it certainly can't be good for people. And then on top of that, you've got all manner of people sending you bits and pieces of
Yes.
this, that, and the other, and because we have social media, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just, as you say, constant. So that needs to be managed.
That it
Absolutely.
does need to be managed.
Yeah.
I mean, we do need to know. Again, I do have to emphasize that we are not minimizing the health concerns
Sure.
or the fact that we do need to be aware of what is going on, but just the constant feeding and dripping and pulling at your emotions, that just feeds into the anxiety, feeds into the feeling of helplessness, feeds into the frustration, it feeds into the panic. And if you can limit that, so all of the WhatsApp messages that we are getting, what
Oh,
if you don't share it? What if you
exactly.
don't? What if you just delete it?
Just cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off. Oh dear
Yes,
me.
because the constant drip drip, that is what, or tap tap, or pound pound of the
Mm-hmm.
negative news,
Mm-hmm.
that cannot be healthy to consume.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
and then the other thing that's really important is to move. So move your body. We've spoken about before we started recording that you've been out for a walk even during the lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
and think of how good that is. Not only are you getting the physical exercise, you are the fresh air, the vitamin D, that is one of the things that we do need to boost our
It's
immune system.
so important. Yeah.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting all of that in a nice way, where your mind can relax, and you can even meditate and while you're walking along, and you can make your mind focus on something else,
Mm-hmm.
on wellness.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of movement is really something that has to be stressed. We are home. You could choose to sit down, draw the curtains, watch the news, or you could have a 10-minute exercise. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous or vigorous. You could, wherever your level is, YouTube has got videos for everything.
Oh
Surely
gosh, yes.
there must be a video that you could follow, some sort of fitness video or yoga, meditation, anything to move. Apart from that, moving, you could be in your kitchen, you could be cooking, that's movement.
Mm-hmm.
Cooking your healthy meal, that's movement. That's taking your mind away from the issue, from the pandemic. All of these things help us to move. And something else that I think that's important to note is, while we are being told that social distancing is the thing that we must do, and that is absolutely correct, fine, that we must do that. But social distancing is physical, isn't it? But
Yes.
there's so many other ways that we can connect with each other. So we mustn't lose that connection with each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Phone somebody, phone a friend, phone a relative that you haven't spoken to in a few days, a few weeks, however long. Somebody that you've been meaning to reach out to. Now is the perfect time to do that. We're all at home. So,
Yeah.
the person is not
We're not
likely
going
to tell
anywhere.
you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on the ground, I'm going on the train, everyone's at
Mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm.
So things that you've been trying to do for a long time, the people that you've been meaning to reach out to, we can't meet them physically, but you could reach out. We all have a mobile phone, we have the internet. reach out, connect with people, and that is sure to take your mind away from what is going on, especially if you don't talk about it in those conversations.
Absolutely.
As such. So
yes, I mean, as you said that, interestingly, I'm going to a Zoom party tonight.
Fantastic. Are you bringing your own drink?
Well, yes, and food.
Okay.
And of course,
music,
and we'll have to dress up. It's the birthday
nice.
of a couple of cousins of mine, so we decided let's see if what we can do here. And again, it'll be a group of us who will connect together, and it'll be interesting to see how we do that, because again, you say social distancing is a physical thing, but it's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't connect. Yeah, virtually.
Yes,
so
as we are doing now.
Yes, indeed, I like that. Okay, what's next?
Well, these are the five main things that we wanted to talk about. So it's focusing on the now instead of the what ifs down the line.
Right.
Shifting your focus to the next 24 hours. So dealing with things in a 24-hour chunk makes it more manageable, puts you in control, gives you more authority in what is happening with you, even within that whole lockdown situation. Again, focusing on the things that you can control. So within all the official advice, you do have the option to follow them. Again, if you don't, there'll be consequences, but you have the option to focus on things that you can do to boost your immune system, which is really, really important, and things to do to help with the overall effort to starve the spread of this disease. Cutting out the things that feed your anxiety. So switching from the 24-hour news binge to perhaps doing things that will empower you, help you with your development, with your growth. So reading, watching more educational YouTube videos, and turning off the Netflix binge after an hour or 2 hours or whatever. Don't make it the whole day then.
Of course.
Doing that course that you've signed up to. And speaking of which, I have 2 courses that I signed up to sometime last year. This is my chance to do them now.
Wow, excellent.
So, because life gets in the way and you don't get the time. This is the time. I
myself, I was doing something and then I didn't give it enough time, and now I have to do more work on it. This is the right time to do it.
This is the time, isn't it?
So yeah.
Because even though you have your job that you because a lot of us are working at home, you do have your job to do.
Yes.
But think of the commuting time that you would have been using.
Yes.
Think of the time that you would be walking to go buy lunch or whatever. Think of the times traveling to and from meetings. You've got that time now. Even for some of the parents like me who have to deal with homeschooling.
Yes, you've got a couple of hours to prep in the morning for that school day. Oh my word! Oh gosh, yes.
But as you say, if you structure your day and you allocate times to the different things, the time moves so quickly.
Yes, routine.
That it's zooming along.
It is. I mean, it doesn't always zoom along at work, but it's the routine, I think, is so important as well. I mean, I'm still getting up quite early. Come down, you make yourself a drink, make the boy a drink, and what have you. Because what are you doing up so early? I said, well, the routine, some semblance of normality is so important still.
Exactly.
So I think you're absolutely right there. Okay, well, thank you so much, Nakinda. Can you tell our listeners here at Hayes FM how they can follow you and keep in touch with what you're doing, and possibly even take up any of your services if they would wish to do so?
Well, thank you, Sylvia. My website is www.nakindadaniel.com.
And a lovely website it is too.
Thank you for the endorsement, Sylvia. And I am on Instagram. The handle would be /Nakinda Daniel. Okay. Also on Facebook and LinkedIn. Again, my name is quite unique, so if you put it in, it should probably come up straight away. I am actually doing a little bit, you know, to help, because, you know, we do have to look up for the community, look up for our clients and our friends and family. So I am offering a 1-hour coaching session free during the month of April. So anybody who a chat or whatever it is that you want to you know, have a coaching session about, I'd be happy to speak with any of your listeners. There's a link available on my website where you can book that in, and I will just send you a Zoom link. Thank God for Zoom as well, Sylvia.
I tell you, it's an absolute godsend, as well as some of the others, but this one's quite secure. Well, thank you so much.
I would love to connect with your listeners. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Sylvia.
Yes, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I will see you at the end of social distancing.
Oh gosh, yes. Okay. All right. Thank you.
But we'll talk before then.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt. No doubt.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.